Dr. Guest and I have a fair bit in common, though, it's fair to say. We both share a love of music and we both went to the same school, but not at the same time. His love of music evolved into a successful career fronting the 70s rockers Showaddywaddy. The band notched up a staggering 29 top 40 hit singles, including the Christmas #1 album in 1978. Dave Bartram, that must have been a really special year for you, 1978.
78 was a marvellous year.
Yes.
What I can remember of it.
Yes, you were celebrating at the Holiday Inn, a little birdie tells me. Am I right?
After the album went to #1, we found out that it had hit the coveted #1 Christmas #1 spot. The night we were actually playing at the De Montfort Hall.
Wow.
So that was a pretty special night. And
Can you imagine?
It mostly sort of lives long in my memory. I say mostly because some of that I can't actually remember. So
you were told that you had a very good time.
We did have indeed a very, very good time. And apparently I was said to be frolicking on a waterbed with one of the other members of the band. But
is that a fact?
Well, apparently,
right.
Quite what was going on.
Is this in the book?
It's a blur.
Is it in the book?
I've left that out.
Actually, I just have to check something with the head of Blame. Can he say frolicking on the radio? Oh, she's going on a bit iffy. But I think you're okay. You're okay. You got away with that one.
If I put a B on it, it would have been slightly different.
I dig my own grave, don't I, really? I really
exactly,
do.
You deserve that one.
My own grave. Anyway, welcome, Dave. It's great to see you. It's ages since our paths crossed. But we did go to the same school, didn't we?
We did indeed.
That was Loughborough College School.
Yes, and you were slightly more senior, but...
it's all right.
I just need to... It's not often I can rub that in, you know. There aren't that many people I know that are more senior than myself these days.
All right, okay. No, it's called Charnwood College now, don't you know? I don't know if you've heard about it.
I knew it became Burley College.
Burley, yeah. But now it's... Oh, I've just heard the head of Blame was at our school as well. How about that? And I went back a few weeks ago.
Gracious.
They allowed me to go back.
Why?
We just have a look round, just for pure nostalgia, I suppose.
Did it resemble its original form?
Yeah, it brought back so many memories, to be honest. You know, my contemporaries, some of whom I know where they are to this very day, most of whom I do not. But that's life, I guess, isn't it? Was it a good time for you at school? You say, I've turned this back on you now.
Actually, that was a great school to go to.
It was good, wasn't it?
It was a good school. There was something, kind of freedom about the place.
Yes.
I don't know what. There was a lot of discipline.
Oh, indeed.
But at the same time, I don't know, it wasn't constricting in any way, shape or form. It seemed a good place, and I think they actually genuinely cared about the pupils.
And the teachers, as I remember, you know, we had to call sir or miss or whatever it was, and they used to wear these black gowns. Did they when you were there? Black gowns, and they cut formidable sights as they sort of seemed to glide up and down the corridor. Fred Modrell. Oh,
now
crikey.
There was a man to be reckoned with.
Indeed. Yes.
A
fearsome man, wasn't he?
Wiry character.
Yeah. Oh, crikey. Then there was Pussy. Was Pussy still there when you were there?
Yeah, he was, but he was a nice guy.
Well, he was until he whipped you round the backside with his Bunsen burner rubber.
Absolutely.
That's another story, isn't it?
He was the science teacher, and I know, yes, discipline.
Oh, discipline,
but we could go on about that forever, couldn't we?
The kids today don't know.
They never know any discipline.
Tell you, aye. So what have you been doing with yourself professionally and personally, Dave? Because you stepped back from fronting Showaddywaddy a couple of years ago now.
Well, apart from clearing up flood water... and other such nonsense, I've actually really got the writing bug. I had my first book released in January of this year, and I'm being pressurised by my publishers to come up with the second one, which is actually nearing its closing stages, shall we say.
Right, so you're getting there.
But it's been... It's a long one. This is the War and Peace of rock and roll.
Has it got a title?
40 years of rock and roll. Haven't actually looking at a few different options on that one. So, so we're not quite there yet. So I won't run before I can walk.
Am I in it? If not, why not?
Well, it might have an adverse effect on sales. That's my only worry.
This man knows too much, I think. Wonderful stuff. Because you were quoted at the time you left Showaddywaddy. I know you're still actively involved because you manage the band now, but at the time, I think, if I remember correctly, the quote was, "I can't do this anymore." Why could you not do it anymore? I mean, you'd had remarkable chart success, as we've heard. You know, there must have been times when you thought you could almost walk on water.
An unbelievable career.
Yeah.
You know, I'm privileged to have seen and done what I have.
But you'd had
amazing. I'd always said, and I've always been a man of my word, and I had always said, once the enjoyment goes out of it, I'm out. And that's precisely what happened. I found that we were playing caravan parks and places that I just didn't want to be in those places. Right. It wasn't my vision of rock and roll.
What was wrong with caravan parks?
Well, it's not so much. It's not caravan parks as such. We played holiday camps, the Butlins places. Yeah. Thoroughly enjoyed them. Great stages, great sound systems, packed full of people that have gone to party. Wonderful. Yeah. Exactly what Showaddywaddy was all about.
Yes.
But playing dingy places with triangular stages that's stuffed away in the corners and hardly room to swing a pygmy jerboa, let alone a cat. You know, I don't know, it just wasn't what I wanted to do. I just found that I wasn't enjoying it. And I'd always been a very kind of dynamic and physical performer. And I was finding that being on the road for these sustained periods of time, which were really just getting to me. And you know, I was becoming a bit of a miserable old git.
Fair comment. Yeah. But thankfully, you're not a miserable old git any longer. I never actually would have referred to you as a miserable old git, but then I have never been with you on the road, so to speak, and I guess it must be soul-destroying at times when you're travelling possibly the length and the breadth of the country.
At times, travelling in the UK doesn't get any easier.
Yeah.
I always figured when they built all this network of motorways that it would get easier, but it actually gets worse because they now close sections of them off.
Yes, they do.
During the night hours.
And you can't get off at the junction you want to get off.
And you
sometimes.
Have to travel about 20 miles extra. They don't foot your fuel bills, but I'm sounding like a right old curmudgeon now, isn't I?
Hey, we ought to start a series of our own on radio. Two grumpy old men.
We'd have plenty to talk about.
So you've been writing virtually non-stop by the sounds of things, but you are shortly Hemingway, you're shortly to make your first public appearance as a solo artist.
Oh, you know
since you stepped back. Oh yes, well, a certain guest or two of mine on the show last week gave it all away. It's at the Western Pub, and it's next Saturday, isn't it?
It's next Friday.
I think they're expecting you on Saturday as well.
Can't get a ticket.
Is it sold out?
It is sold out, yeah. I think it's only around 75 people, but
right.
It's going to be a chat about my life, if that's of any interest to anyone out there. And I'm hoping to be plucking a few songs on an acoustic guitar as well, just to show a slightly softer side of DB, shall we say.
But you've still got it.
Well, I don't know about that. It's just, I was asked to do it, and I thought, why not? So it'll be nice to have a little warble again.
Do you know, one of the things that come back to my mind, you know, you and I have been, I like to think, you know, friends after a fashion for a number of years.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, it was in the 1980s that you released a solo record.
I did.
Was it called Black Ice?
Black Ice.
There you go. And do you remember, you came in on a Saturday morning, as you are now, here, live in the studio. This is live radio, folks.
Not changed a bit.
Yeah, we look exactly the same, don't we? And you brought your new solo single release on vinyl, and we played out the song, do you remember, on turntables. And also in the studio was another pal of mine who is now a senior member of Parliament, Greg Knight.
Oh, Greg, yeah.
And he kept monkeys. And he brought two of them.
And he was the worst drummer in the world.
Oh, was he really?
He was.
Okay.
He purported to play the drums.
Okay.
But,
he still plays drums.
But it was all about timing, and and he hadn't got it.
Well, look, I'm delighted to say that Greg joins us now live on the telephone. No, he doesn't. I'm pulling your leg there. But do you remember, he brought these monkeys in with him. You and I just had a conversation about your new solo release, and it was there being played out for the first time on BBC Radio Leicester. And these blessed monkeys, little tiny monkeys he got, They were jumping around the studio. Do you remember?
Absolutely,
On the wall.
I do indeed.
And I remember the look on your face because they were jumping over the turntable at one stage, and the look of horror on your face, and mine too, I guess, for fear of knocking the stylus off the record and ending up with, well, it was a sound, I've probably still got the sound. There we are, it's that sort of sound, you see.
Well, Greg was an expert on animals.
Yes.
A lawyer.
Yes, that's right.
And I remember he told me a few stories of certain clients
make your hair curl.
that would actually make your hair curl.
I think we'll leave it there, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, Greg still plays in a band, a cross-party band. There are 4 members. Work that one out. And it's called MP4.
Right.
And we're threatening to do a charity gig together one of these fine days.
As long as he doesn't make a comeback as a lawyer or a drummer,
you're okay.
We're okay. No client confidentiality.
All right. So tell me a little bit about Showaddywaddy, because we're coming to the end of our time for chatting. We're going to play a track by Showaddywaddy in a few moments' time. I understand next June the lads, I mean, they're doing all sorts of things. You know,
coming to Leicester.
They're at the Athena, aren't they?
On the 9th.
9th of November. So we mustn't forget to mention that. But next June they're with the Osmonds and David Essex.
Once in a lifetime.
Bay City Rollers.
The farewell tour, yes. The once in a lifetime. We did it, I think it was 2007 or 2008.
Yeah.
Playing all the big arenas, and that's a great buzz. And it will be wonderful for the new guys in the band. It will just be a tremendous experience for them.
I can imagine.
Because it really does make the hair stand up on the back of your neck.
Yeah.
I would come back to do that tour, but I'm not going to.
Right.
Because it's immensely exciting.
But you could do a cameo. You could walk.
No,
on and
well,
do a song.
I don't think that's fair to the guys, to be perfectly honest.
Really?
No, I've been there. I've done it now. You know, I've got all the T-shirts and.
It'd be fair to the fans, though, wouldn't it, Dave?
Well, possibly, but no.
All right, okay. Right, before we say ta-ra and move on with a track from Showaddywaddy, let's say good morning to Sarah Blizzard.
Hello.
Sarah?
Yes.
Hello. I've got Showaddywaddy that was.
Yes, I know. Friends of Alan Birchnell.
On a couple of occasions, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's just telling me all sorts of things about you, Sarah.
Oh, dear.
Knows you quite well, apparently. Anyway, moving on with the weather forecast. What do you have for us today?
I'm not going to tell you now. No, today isn't too bad, to be quite honest. We've sort of got the quieter spell of weather before the storm finally arrived.
Dave Bartram, it's an absolute pleasure and delight to see you again, old friend.
Listening to that weather forecast, I'm so glad I've come back.
You back from where?
Well, I
you
have
were?
a home over in Portuguese shores.
Oh, right, okay.
And so where I've been very fortunate because I got flooded out of my UK property.
Yeah.
But I'm now back in Leicester. But listening to that weather forecast, so exciting.
Yes. All right, okay. There's no need to rub it in. Some of us have to live in this godforsaken
Including
country
me.
in terms of weather. Yes. Dave Bartram, thank you so much indeed. Let's just remind ourselves then of the Western gig. That's sold out, so you won't get tickets.
That's a week. It's
next Friday.
Yesterday. It's next Friday, November the 1st.
Yeah. And Athena in Leicester, Showaddywaddy.
And I'll be along to wave to everyone and take all the complaints.
And we look forward to the publication of your latest.
Well, the second book covers 40 years of rock and roll, as I said, and I think we're hopeful that should be available around about March.
Okay, Dave Bartram, tar ever so lovely to see you, mate.
And you.
Cheers.